Hello Ghosts, I'm Matt Shacha and this is Official Ghost Tactics. In this installment I'll be covering the Scout Kit. I'll go through every bit of progression, all the weapons, all the gadgets, all the cool stuff, including the passive abilities, and I'll even give you a few tips on how to be a more effective Scout. First up is the Scout's passive ability, Active Camouflage, and that allows the Scout to go invisible as long as he's not moving and not firing any shots. Also, if he takes any damage, that will drop his active camo as well. Now, it can be great to use in a situation where you want to get behind enemy lines. You just got to remember any of those twitches that gives you away could leave you incredibly vulnerable, especially against enemy riflemen with their body armor or engineers with all their intel. Now, there's a little more to active camo than just that, but we'll come back to it. Right now, I want to move on to primary weapons, starting with the M110 and the PSL 54C. These are two semi-automatic sniper rifles that do medium damage at medium range, and they're a 2-hit kill. And it's for that reason that I don't really recommend using them at long range. I think if you want to do a little aggressive scout work, these are the guns for you. And now we're going to move on to the MSR and KSVK. These are two bolt-action, high-caliber, devastatingly powerful sniper rifles at long range. Generally, they're a one-hit kill if it's upper mass or a headshot, but their decreased mobility makes them ineffective at short range. And now onto the oddballs, the SRR and VSS. They're two sniper rifles with built-in silencers, and they're most effective at the shorter side of medium range. These would be good to get deep behind enemy lines and do some up-close aggro work. Keep in mind that they're both a 2-hit kill, and the SRR is a single shot, the VSS a fully automatic sniper rifle. And now my two favorites, the M40A5 and the MN9130. Only available as a pre-order bonus in another country, these two bolt-action, medium-barrel sniper rifles are effective at both short and long ranges. Unlike the M110 and PSL 54C that maintain a 2-hit kill even at close range, these two rifles can give you a 1-hit kill body shot at close range, but also a 1-hit kill upper body headshot at long range, making them powerful like the MSR and KSVK, but maneuverable like the M110 and PSL 54C. As far as I'm concerned, that kind of versatility is irreplaceable. Now that we've covered sniper rifles, let's talk about the second type of primary, the submachine gun. Right here we got the MP7 and the PP2000. A high rate of fire on the MP7 and a recoil compensation system on the PP2000 make them both effective weapons. I always personally preferred the MP7 with its stopping power over the PP2000. PP2000 always felt more like a machine pistol than a true SMG. Right now we got the P90 and the PP19. Boasting great numbers in both power and control departments, these two submachine guns are easily, in my opinion, the best in the game. Both guns also come stock with a high-capacity magazine. P90 does have a slightly higher rate of fire, but they're both laser accurate and they're both great guns. Which brings us to the Vector and the Scorpion. Maneuverability definitely seems to be the selling point with these two guns. Both of them also boast a very high rate of fire. The downside to that is that both guns carry a magazine with less than 30 rounds in it, which means you need to be quick with the reload and you gotta pick your shots wisely. When used with the silencer though, they can be a very effective scout weapon, especially when running a flank route behind the enemy. Which brings us to the MP9 and the Type 05. The easiest way to describe these two guns, as far as flaws are concerned, is they're very similar to the previous two. Good rates of fire, not a lot of power, not a lot of range, but when used with a silencer and on a flank route, they can be very effective. Maneuverability here is king again. They both feature very high maneuverability marks, and that's the big redemption for these two weapons. Now we're going to move on and briefly explain some of the secondary weapons, starting with the stun gun. It's pretty self-explanatory, but allows you to stun and possibly data hack an unsuspecting enemy. And then there's the flash bulb. It's a trigger-operated handheld flashbang, essentially, that you can use to disorient your enemies. The stun gun and the flash bulb are both great while running a silenced SMG, but when you're carrying a sniper rifle, I strongly recommend using a pistol as your secondary. Now, in order to save some time, I'm not going to mention every little detail about the pistols. I'm just going to mention the key features, how they affect the scout, and how to best use them in the scout kit. So let's get started with the ghost pistols. My personal favorite, the Card, features a weapon recoil system. 5.7 also has a weapon recoil system, but can't be equipped with a silencer. The 45T has an additional customization slot, and the Defender actually fires shotgun shells. In situations where you don't necessarily need to be sneaky, I've found that the 5.7 is the most effective pistol in the game. Problem is, you can't equip a silencer. so that makes me lean towards the card. Of course, the shotgun shell firing defender can't be equipped with a silencer either, but is definitely the king when it comes to finishing off a downed enemy with one crisp shot. Not always the best for the scout though, which brings us to the 45T. It's a great all-purpose weapon, and you can customize and fine-tune more aspects of the gun. The thing is, once you unlock the other guns, you probably won't look back at it. Now we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the Bow Arc pistols. First pistol up is the fully automatic OTS-33. There's also the high caliber, high damage Wild Boar. And finally the GSH-18, which comes standard with armor piercing rounds. Similar to the 45T for the Ghosts, the GSH-18 is a great first gun to get you going. But once you get to the fully automatic OTS-33, you may find yourself decking that one out instead. Then there's the Wild Boar, which is essentially a Magnum revolver. The Boar also carries a lot of punch, a lot of kick, and it can't be silenced. Completing the campaign will unlock the MK40 and the G106 grenade launchers. They both come with a high explosive round, an EMP, and a smoke round. Unlike the Rifleman, who only has under barrels, these are equipped as a standalone secondary. Now let's talk about grenades. The Scout has access to 3 main grenades: the EMP, electromagnetic pulse, the common flashbang, found in many shooters, and the common smoke grenade, also found in a lot of shooters. Now with me playing as a Scout, it really depends on what gun I'm running as far as what grenade I'm going to run. If you're going to go unsilenced and aggressive, I think the flashbang might be what you want. If you've got engineers on your fire team, or maybe an OTR scanner equipped, then you might want to use smokescreen to protect yourself, all the while being able to see the enemy intel. But by far the best of the 3 is the EMP grenade. Not only does it take out things like sentries, claymores, and stun mines, it will also interfere with the enemy's HUD, taking away things like their minimap. But by far the best use of an EMP grenade in Ghost Recon is to throw them at enemies who are trying to hack your teammates. It stops them dead in their tracks from getting their hack off. Now let's take a minute and look at all the Scout's equipment, including the medkit and the 360-degree intel camera. Now the medkit allows you to heal yourself if you've been downed but not out by an enemy. It also speeds up the process of healing teammates. The camera is a small deployable device that will give you valuable intel on any enemy within its range. And now for the fun stuff, including the Claymore directional mine, the Stun directional mine, and an upgrade to your optical camo called Augmented Camo. Now if you're going full out assault, aggro scout style, you may want to run Augmented Camo, but you also may want to run a Claymore. The nice thing about the Claymore is, you can put the Claymore down and keep moving and not have to worry about it. Only thing is, although your teammates won't trip and set it off, if they're in the vicinity when it does go off, it will kill them as well. So you gotta be careful about that. Now Augmented Camo, I would say, is best for the guys in between defensive and aggressive, because although it does upgrade your optical camo and allow some movement, you need to stay crouched. If you stand up and run, you're still gonna drop your optical camo. So basically the only difference is, like I said, you can crouch walk a bit and sneak around the map. Now we're on to the stun mine. The thing about the stun mine is, it's gonna drop and stun an enemy, but to be completely honest, that does you no good if you're not in the area. So for an aggressive guy, it doesn't really work out. You put it down and then you move on, and now this guy gets stunned and there's no one there to hack him. So it's more for a defensive player if you ask me, or somebody who likes to put them down near objectives and stun the guys trying to hack. Now I've seen them work out great for some scouts that I know, but for the most part, like I said, if you're trying to be aggressive, it's just going to slow you down, and that's, after all, not what we're looking for if you're playing aggressively. If you're playing defensively, they could work out to your advantage, and they can give your team some valuable intel. Now I just wanted to briefly show you the progression tiles. These are decision points you're going to have to make. The first one's at rank 4, the second at rank 16. You're going to see at rank 4 you can choose between a thermal optic and a high power sniper optic. And then at rank 16, between X-Acto ammo and your OTR scanner. Now if you see a lot of ammo in this section, don't worry about it, I have a whole video coming up about that. As far as the rank 4 decision point, the thermal optic has a very short zoom, but it is thermal, and the custom sniper optic is a 12 times zoom. Then there's the OTR scanner, which in my opinion is irreplaceable. It gives you intel on any enemy that you're pointing the gun at. That intel is also shared with your team, which can get you intel assists if they get to the guy first. Up next you see, at rank 28, you get stun, or the augmented camo, and at rank 40, you get the Claymore or the Ralph Foss ammo. Now we've already gone over these items, so I'm not going to belabor the point and overdo it here. I just want to Like I said, I just want to kind of show you what ranks you're going to be expecting these things so that you can kind of plan accordingly. Now, these decisions can only be undone with a respec token, but luckily the respec tokens are now unlocked, so if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world, it's just a matter of respecing your character. But knowing what decision points are coming up is definitely going to help newer players determine their playstyle. Up next, we have the weapon decision points, which for every class take place at rank 20 and rank 32. These carry a little more weight than the equipment decisions because, as you can see, choosing between the silenced sniper rifle group and those dominant SMGs we talked about earlier, that's a tough one to call, and then choosing between the high power MSR and KSVK and the short range sneakier Vector and Scorpion, this is something that you're really going to have to know how you're playing and what you want to do beforehand. Unless, of course, you've got a 2-for-1 token. 2-for-1 tokens allow you to unlock both guns from a decision point. They only work for guns, they don't work for equipment. So you might want to save one for some of these scout weapons because, as I said earlier, they all serve a great purpose depending on how you're playing. Now, just a few brief kit suggestions for the newer players. These are all guns that you have right off the go, and they're kits that you can set up to try different things and test out your playstyle. First up, I have an aggressive scout or an aggro scout kit, and it's the M110 or PSL 54C with the 45T pistol or the GSH 18, and then you have a flashbang and a med kit. Now, the thinking here is if you're going to play aggressively with a sniper rifle, you're going to want to have a semi-automatic. And also, you're going to want the flashbang and you're going to want the med kit. The flashbang's great for dazing a room full of enemies and then picking them off with your sniper rifle, and the med kit is great in case you get downed or if a teammate needs to be revived, and so on and so forth. If you're playing aggressively, that's the kit you want. Unless, of course, you can get your hands on the shorter barrel bolt actions, which are more powerful and you're going to want to use them. But if you're partial to SMGs, I have another kit suggestion where we just replace a few pieces of this. If you swap out the M110 for the MP7 and the PSL 54C for the PP2000, maybe equip them with a compensator for control, you have yourself a great aggro submachine gun kit. Now we're going to move on and talk about the kits for the guys that want to play either more defensively or maybe a little more tactically, a little more sneaky. Again, being beginner kits, we're going to stick with those same rifles and the same pistols, except if you're playing more tactically, you might want to bring a smoke screen and a camera. The reason behind the smoke screen is it'll help cover you while you get to where you need to be, and the camera can help protect you and watch your back from flanking enemies. It also affects how you equip the weapon. For an aggressive player, I would say use an angled foregrip. Maybe for the tactical player, I would say use a bipod or a bipod grip. You're also probably going to be running a lower power zoom on the aggro kit than you are on this one. And obviously don't forget about pistol silencers on your stealth kit. And again, if your preference is submachine guns, I'd swap it for the MP7 and the PP2000. Just remember, just like with the pistols, you're going to want to carry silencers on them. Use your smoke screen and use your camera, because you're not the only member of your team that's going to benefit. Now obviously, once you rank up, you're going to want to try some higher up weapons and stuff that are more powerful and things like that. These suggestions are just to get you rolling and just to kind of determine your play style. The thing about Ghost Recon is there's a million ways you can play it, a million ways you can adapt and use all this different equipment, and the gunsmith mode is full of different attachments and things. You really need to just get in there and give it a shot yourself and figure out, you know, how you like to play, what kind of player you're going to be. And I'm going to have more videos coming up with, featuring the different ammunition types and some of the gunsmith attachments and things like that. And then I'm also going to be doing something called the Advanced Scout, which is going to expand upon the principles that I talked about here, and it's going to be more for the players who have already progressed past these tips and tricks. But anyhow, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Matt Shacha, and you can stay tuned to my channel or GhostReconNetwork.com under the Ghost Tactics section for more official Ghost Tactics with Matt Shacha. Thanks for watching, guys.
Securing the cache.